Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us at a Monday morning U.S. time and wherever you are all over the world. I'm excited to be able to introduce our athletics session. This is actually the first time we've done this for DKU Bound. So I'm excited to hear from our athletic director and some of our students who participate in athletics and see some of the new facilities that we had open this year. So it's been an exciting year for athletics all around. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Zarko, I'm going to pass things on to you and you can take control from here.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Emily. And please give me a second just to share my screen, and we're going to go much quicker than that. Here we go. So firstly, thank you all for coming. And it's really great to speak with you, and that athletics has an opportunity to really attract students to our campus. Considering we are relatively new, it's always great to hear that there's a lot of interest from students to come into DKU, and they have already some athletics background, and they are interested in pursuing their passions and the activity when they come to DKU. So we want to use this opportunity to share everything we have to offer, how things work here at DKU, in China in general. And I think the most importantly, to actually have our student athletes who've been here at DKU at different times, who really can share a first-hand experience, their journey, what is their experience, what is the most they get out of it. And hopefully this will give you an idea what to expect when coming to DKU. So let's start in it. So first, I'm going to do a brief introduction. Then I'm going to give each of our student athletes time to introduce themselves, give a little bit of their story, and then we'll leave time for question and answer Q&A session at the end. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to use the chat or Q&A session, and we are going to track those as well and answer the questions as we go if we need to. Okay, so here we go. First and foremost, we are very proud to be able to open. Let's see this. Oh, there you go. Our new home. There you go. I hope some pictures are going to load up a little bit quicker. Our new sports complex starting August of this year. This has been a long process. Everybody's been waiting for it for a long time. Unfortunately, COVID has delayed the opening, but now we are proud to really have a state-of-the-art facility that supports most of the sports that we have to offer, if not all of them. So you can see from the outside, it's a beautiful facility. It is right in the middle of, it's part of the campus, so there are no external facilities, and encompasses anything from major sports like basketball and volleyball, football, track, and some of the niche areas such as judo, martial arts, squash. Of course, there's a fitness center completed with indoor track and aerobics areas. So 90% of activities that we offer at DKU can be done in our facilities. And of course, some of the niche sports that we offer, of course, we have facilities off campus as well. But we call this our home as of this year. I think everyone is excited. We've been very happy using all of the spaces, and we hope to expand even more activities in the near future. So this is where we're starting. If you get here, when you get here, one of these spaces are going to be ready for use for you and to participate in. So essentially, whole athletics department encompasses 4 general areas: physical education, sport clubs and varsity teams, fitness and wellness, and outdoor programs. I don't want to spend too much today about all of them. We're going to focus on the varsity and sports specifically because that's what session is about. I will share briefly about each of these areas. So physical education department, it simply offers about 30 different PE courses and is designed specifically to give students a chance to explore different activities, learn new activities, and it is also eligible to get PE credits. Although in most schools, international students do not have to take PE, we offer these activities to all students equally, and we see about 20-25% of international students opt to take PE credits as well, and of course, they count towards graduation. List of the PE classes you can find on our website, and they can range again from typical sports such as basketball, football, and to yogas, Pilates, and we have some of the non-traditional sports such as sailing, and sometimes we organize winter camps and summer camps such as skiing and snowboarding and scuba and everything in between. So you have a quite diverse opportunity range of classes that you can take and register for. Fitness and wellness are open classes. that we offer on a daily basis, open to all students, faculty, and staff. They are free of charge, and students can try out some of these activities on their own as well. And of course, to complement the wellness portion of the activities that we offer, outdoors programs are regular in our schedule. We try to do at least 1 or 2 per month. Sometimes we'll do more, sometimes less. But the idea behind it is really to offer students as much of a diverse experience that DKU can provide, because we're really emphasizing the holistic approach to student success here, in addition to academics, everything else that we can offer to support student life and provide that diversity. Of course, today we're going to focus mostly on sports. And what are some of the activities we have at DKU? What is the life of student athletes, and how can you participate and engage in these activities? So to start off, our entire program of athletics is built on the premise to prepare our athletes for the world after DKU. And because this is an international institution, it is a really, really diverse program. And athletics is one of the key elements if your student can just simply come in and immerse themselves in a new culture, start building friends, start building their network, and try to learn some of the skills that are not necessarily built in a classroom. So one thing that we emphasize through our athletics program, whether it's varsity teams, whether it's sports clubs, in some of the soft skills that are necessary for your personal and professional success after DKU. Of course, number 1 is teamwork. Number 2 is leadership. Number 3 is integrity and determination. These are what we would consider overall as pillars of excellence here in athletics. And whenever we have the opportunity to emphasize those, we actually do so as well. So what does that mean on a greater scope of things? Well, because of the structure we have, over 20 to 25% of DKU students are part of the sports clubs. And this ranges based on each year, because sometimes we have extra clubs, some clubs fade away. And I'll talk a little bit more about what are some of the factors that influence certain clubs and participation. Because of this, athletics is one of the largest contributors to co-curricular activities at DKU. Of course, overall, DKU has about 60, 70 clubs at DKU, and we are between 17 and 20 in any given year. Again, I'll speak a little bit later on this. So there's a really high level of activity. In our first year, interestingly, DKU, about 50% of our students were in the clubs. Of course, as we increase the number of students at DKU, that percentage is going to be a little bit less. Nonetheless, higher than average participation in sports activities. And I think we can credit that to the number of activities we offer, the support systems we have in play, and really encouraging students to take these opportunities. And of course, as I mentioned first, when you come here, there's really no better opportunity than to join. Of course, I have to be biased to sports clubs, but participate, engaging with one of our sports clubs and engaging in the activities. Not only because they're on campus, but also most of the sports clubs get an opportunity to travel off campus and compete in different tournaments and competitions and visit different schools. So it's a great, great opportunity to actually meet colleagues and friends from other institutions and get understanding of life outside of our campus and in China as abroad. So what are some opportunities? What kind of sports engagement are there for new incoming students at DKU? So number 1 level of our participation are the varsity teams. And these are interscholastic teams that compete in different competitions. Now, of course, to be on a varsity team, there are certain standards that we are expected from students. Those usually include minimum 5 hours of participation. And at the beginning of every year, there are tryouts for the varsity team. Structure at DKU works similar to the United States system, where we have an overall sports club, and within a club, we have a varsity team. All clubs are student-led, which means all of the administration is led by students, usually made up of 5, 4, 3 members, depending on a club, such as club president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and different clubs have a different structure. Those clubs that when we start a club, each club is given a temporary status, and that status is for about 1 year. And after 1 year, if they meet some of the minimum conditions that we have, and they see they're sustainable for a whole year, they become a recreational club. If they have an interest to become a varsity team, then we raise the standards of participation and engagement. And there are certain things that all clubs need to complete in order to be varsity. For example, need to have a certain level of competitions, need to be able to travel to different cities or provinces and compete in different level of competitions. And of course, there needs to be a training status. Some clubs intentionally choose not to be varsity, but are really more active than other clubs. For example, running, and Kennedy can speak a lot of this. It's been a very active club, a lot of community engagement, but they are not necessarily classified as varsity yet. And Kennedy can speak a little bit more about this. We also have individual athletes who don't necessarily have clubs, but come here with a strong background in certain sports. For example, we have national level athletes in shooting. We've had fencers. We've had athletes who do mixed martial arts and different types of sports. Whenever possible, we try to provide support and find the resources if we don't have a DKU, then outside of the DKU and our near community. Suzhou and Shanghai have a lot of resources, and whenever possible, we'll try to connect our students, offer support whenever possible, and really help them continue to pursue those activities that they have. One of the limitations to consider is that some competitions are not open to international students. And this is where we as an institution take a stand and really don't participate in those competitions if we have to field either all Chinese or all international team. Engage equal opportunity and inclusivity is one of the pillars of DKU's mission, and we stand strongly behind this, but that doesn't mean we don't advocate for participation. Many schools and competitions would like to see us compete, and they certainly have some questions about our students coming in with strong athletic background, and they don't want to see us dominate some of these competitions. So although there are still valid points, as an institution, we spend a lot of time advocating for our inclusion and participation, and we see some of the things changing. One good example is the Suzhou Competition Football League, which I'm going to list here. Suzhou Football League has just started this year, and they've included DKU as one of the participating university, and this is a great initiative to showcase the impact we have in the local community as an institution. Okay, since I'm mentioning competitions, one of the primary engagements we have formed a Sino-Foreign University Sports Association, and this includes 4 major international joint venture universities. They are NYU Shanghai, Suzhou Liverpool University, University of Nottingham in Ningbo, they are a UK university, and of course DKU. This is a sports association that we formed ourselves, and we work in a format that each month one university hosts a multi-sport competition, let's say 6 or 7, 8 varsity teams, and we travel to each of the universities, and of course once a year we host that university. And the end of the year we declare the overall winner. And this is really the biggest competition we host as a university, and we compete. This is last competition was just in March, a few weeks ago, when we set all of our varsity teams, and we had quite good results. And we hope to expand these sports to other teams that are just not varsity, but create opportunities for other non-varsity sports to engage as well. I mentioned Suzhou University Sports Association. We're starting with football, and based on how this football league goes, we are going to expand to other sports as well. This is, again, great initiatives, a great initiative, and it will be almost similar to United States NCAA style format, which we hope to involve and be active participants. There are many other competitions that our student athletes can share as they participate in some of them. Provincial sport associations organize various tournaments, local sport associations as well, such as Kunshan, where we are, even Suzhou and Shanghai. For all of these, we are eligible to participate depending on a sport association. So, for example, running sport association might have their own standards, fencing might have their own. So there is not one unifying body that organizes everything. This is why, for example, in some ways, we can also enter national competitions. For example, recently we entered Tai Chi and Wuxi, martial arts national competition. Our students did great. So it really differs between sport association, but we try to be engaged as much as possible in all of the local and national level associations and advocate for our participation to offer this opportunity for our students. I hope this gives you some idea of how things work in. So if you're in a varsity team, you are coming here, you're doing a tryouts, and if you're selected, you will be part of varsity for the whole year. As part of the varsity team, you also are eligible to receive PE credit. Varsity team is run by a head coach, and they are pretty much in charge of the administration, selecting team, and everything about this. For if we don't have a varsity team or we don't have a club, which happens to be the case, starting the club is actually not that very difficult. You simply contact our sports coordinator, you fill out an application. Each club has to have an advisor. And of course, then you complete some of the basic information, such as how often you would like to train, what facilities do you need, what kind of support do you need, some of the typical stuff that happens that's similar to all universities. One thing that we have is student administrative body that leads student clubs, and it's called Sports Clubs Advisory Council. And this is the body where club presidents and vice presidents are automatically members, and they meet once a month and discuss all of the issues that our clubs are facing, and they bring it to our athletics attention, and we hope to work together to resolve them and address them. From this body of 20 or something so students, we have an executive board that actually represents the students or student athletes on a university scale, and whenever there are opportunities for them to engage with the university leadership, we have members who actually can do that as well. So that is the gist of our athletics program, how things work very briefly. Really, for very detailed information about the teams, who to contact, who are the head coaches, you can visit our website. And you can find all of the coaches' information, and please feel free to contact them and ask any questions you might have about the club. I didn't want to spend too much time. Although procedures are very similar, each club has something unique to them, and you can actually hear from them if they have an ambition to become varsity or if the club is still in functioning or not. For any additional questions, please send us an email, and usually these come to me or one of my colleagues, and I'm happy to respond within a day or two, but we'll definitely find an answer for you for any questions you might have. So I would like to thank you for your time, and I would like to turn over to our student athletes, starting with, who did he say starting first?
Anna.
Anna, please take it away. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or can we keep
Hi,
this
everybody. Oh, we can keep it. Yeah. Okay.
All right, go
Hi,
ahead.
everybody. My name is Anna. I'm a freshman at DKU. I come from a small town in California. So I never really did sports in high school, but I ran with my dad. So I thought, well, it might be cool to do some sort of something at DKU. And I ended up joining running club. Kennedy has a lot to say on that. He'll speak more on it, but I wanted to share my experience. So as someone who isn't like, I would say, like, I'm not in the varsity team or anything. I just wanted to run and get better as a runner and become a better person in many ways. I've been able to participate in a competition, kind of locally to here, 15 minutes away by walking or so. And then also every other Saturday, we have an annual run. So we have a run called the Park Run. It's really fun to participate. And generally those are 5Ks. So I get better at running further distances. And, running club, I notice it's not just running, it's more like building a community. So that's what I really like about running club. But I also wanted to share that, like what Zarko was saying about interdisciplinary work, basically at DKU, they really embrace, for example, Kunshu, which is Chinese theater. So there's even a class teaching students how to walk as a Kunshu character. So if you were interested in traditional theater, you'd be allowed to take a PE class, actually learning how to walk in that way. That is not a varsity team or anything, it's just a PE class, but there's so many different options that DKU has to offer. But I just wanted to share what Running Club has. And also in terms of the rock wall, yes, it is closed right now. There's a rock wall that DKU has, but there is a climbing club, and they do go places. So if you're interested in climbing, you can still do that at DKU, and we're opening it soon.
You had to bring up the climbing wall, didn't you? You had to bring it up. It's coming. All right, thank you, Anna. Appreciate that. Hey, can you share a little bit more? Can you share a little bit about how are you balancing, let's say, some of the how do you balance running club requirements and your studies? Do you see any pressure on there? Are you able to manage your course load with some of the expectations of the running? And yeah.
Well, so running club, their system is if you come a certain amount of times a week, like let's say 2 or 3 times a week, then you can become like a someone who competes off campus. But if you end up, Kennedy could say more, but like if you come once a week or don't come that often, then it's more like you just want to run occasionally. But some people are just very, very dedicated. It doesn't really matter. Like it's super flexible because everybody has a busy schedule. So everybody has things going on. But if you're really interested in running and you really want to become a better runner, you will take the time to run. It's generally in the evenings, so there aren't too many conflicts, but I enjoy it. Helps me balance whatever's going on in my academics and other activities.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna. Who's next on our list? Nika, right?
Yes. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Nika McGann, a rising senior, currently junior, but class of 2025 to make it simple. And I'm a co-captain alongside Bonnie Cabot, which I hope at least some of you can meet in the near future, of the women's football club and a vice president of the women's football club and team. Anyways, they're kind of similar right now, but we're getting there. Anyways, my major is ethics and leadership with a track in philosophy. I'm just now getting to signature work, all that stuff. It's very intensive, but I can do it. It's talking about ethics, morals, and normative implications of like human and AI romantic relationships. But that's all academic, so I'm not going to talk about that for too much. What can I say? Oh, I arrived at DKU during the COVID times, and I have to mention that. Because I just really wanted to get here. I was very ecstatic about coming to China. That was like my main goal of coming to DKU, and I've kind of been here since. So I can personally attest to the significant growth that DKU athletics has gone through. I mean, there wasn't even a facility. There wasn't even, like dedicated places for us to play or like really have that dedicated space for us. So as a whole, it's gone through a lot of growth. And I can remember the time where I basically couldn't interact with somebody without a mask. So to actually like breathe and like, feel like I have a community that is very athletic and like wants to, is energized and is ready to like be a community is really um like I keep that very like in my heart. I love that a lot. So yeah, I would say that I don't know, my background as an athlete is a long one. I've been playing football or soccer for the Americans for around like 12 years. So since I was 9. Um, I've played in like seasonal teams, year-round teams, in my high school junior varsity and varsity. So I've been around the block. Um, and naturally, of course, even though I wanted to come to China, I also was invested in playing football here at DKU. So that's for that exact reason I like live and breathe football. But when I first got here, obviously it was COVID, we couldn't like do anything. But as it continued opening up, like, more clubs were opening up, more athletic stuff was happening. I think it was like, oh, there was only a men's football club, but slowly throughout the years, we've got a women's football club, and now we have like a dedicated um group of like 20 plus girls joining us for each practice, at least like 3 times a week. And what can I say? Oh, the men's football team, I guess. We can talk about them. The men's football team already has a varsity. So you can try out for that. And they also are at present, as Zarko has already said, participated in the Suzhou College Football League, which is pretty legit stuff. They have sponsors and everything. It's crazy. But yeah, hopefully the women's team can also be there. Yeah, the women's team is going to get a varsity, so hopefully you guys can come join, try out, or maybe just play with us recreationally. And, my advice, I guess, is to try and get out of your comfort zone, because what better time than college is to have an existential crisis, but in all seriousness, also to just grow, try, and find yourself in a community. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Nika, so much. I have a one question for you. Obviously, as part of the women's team, you guys have traveled to different schools. What was that experience like, just from having a different perspective of different schools and engaging with students from other universities? What impact did that have on you generally as a student in China and as part of DKU?
Yeah, I would say as we've grown more and more to kind of like have matches with other like UNNC, XJTLU, and NY Shanghai, the three main ones. Um, we've grown to also like as not just captains but as like team members kind of engage with the other teams but also the campuses and like feeling the like campus life in general. I think the most pivotal one was this last March at the Robin Hood Cup for UNNC, because I think I don't know what it is, something about it, but DKU and UNNC have like a really tight bond, at least for football clubs. Like I went there and it was like, oh, immediately, this friend of mine from UNNC on the football team was like, hey, I want to show you around and like I want to, like give you a tour and also like maybe you can catch dinner. And it was, I think, a very bonding moment. Not only am I getting to enjoy like just football and like that team spirit, but also the enjoyment of a community outside of DKU. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, next in line, Marcus. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Your turn.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. So my name is Marcus. I'm a freshman. I plan to major in sociology. I'm still a freshman though, so I have time to figure it out, choose my classes, try some new things. But since coming here, I definitely tried to try everything. I tried to get into as many sports as I could, make sure to check out all the facilities. But the biggest sports team that I've been interested in was actually the volleyball team. So I played volleyball in high school, but even there are people who didn't play volleyball before. So it's a very open community there. Everybody's welcome. So it started out as just a club, and it was super cool to like go there and meet everyone and make friends. And then there's also like sport intramurals. So you get a team or like find some random people and make a team together. And then from there, you play off against a bunch of other students. And it's a great, fun way to meet other people, but also enjoy playing the sport. Eventually, though, varsity volleyball became a varsity team, so that was really cool to like try out and then eventually get on the team. When there are many spots, so a bunch of people can get on. And from there, we would practice a lot. We practice 3 times a week, so it's about like 6 hours total. But it's honestly a great time. We practice and then we also go to games. We have like other schools come to our school and we play against them, and it's amazing. I really enjoy it. It's the highlight of my week, I'd say. So I wanted to like join this club to make friends, but also like exercise and keep physically fit. So it's a great way to do both of those things. Something I definitely advise though, if you are like coming to DKU and you're trying to like meet people or just like try things, I advise that you go to the club expo where you can try to see all the different clubs they have, and then from there like choose ones you're interested in or even new things so you can try it. But definitely try as much as you can, like go to all these different clubs, even if you have no experience in them. People are super friendly, super welcoming, and they'll be sure to teach you and have fun with you and make friends with you. It'll be a lot of fun too. That's the most important thing.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much. You offered a little teaser I didn't mention, but it's a great one. So Club Expo is a really good opportunity to get familiar with all of the clubs on campus. Of course, our website has information, but a lot of clubs get started at the beginning of the school year. So, even though we might have most of them on our website, there are some new ones the students would like to start and use it as a recruiting tool. So that's a great teaser you offered. Let me ask you one question, if you can elaborate more. You guys have made one of the biggest progress in 1 year. You went from a club, you started so, and then you end up really winning a lot of your competitions. So it's a pretty big transition fast. So just want to, what are some of the things that led you to guys move up so fast that you were able to make that progress really within 1 year? So can you share a
That
little,
is,
little bit of that journey? What are some of the things that were part of that process?
of course, that is a fantastic question. Thank you. So we all worked super hard together. We were all like put a lot of effort in, a lot of time to make sure we came to practice, came on time, but also we made sure to improve ourselves. So we were dedicated, we gave a lot of effort, and we all worked together. We cooperated, like helped to improve each other beyond just like improving ourselves. And having a good like coach and also a captain of the team was super important because it led us to really learn more about ourselves and engage in these drills that helped us get better to where we are today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And one thing that you bring up that I wanted to leave and for this session as well, we've had some clubs really start and then they fade away. They don't exist anymore. And the new students come in and start them up again. And really, there are different factors that influence this. And very often it can come to the simply students not having a clear idea of how to move their club forward, because many students have an opportunity to build something from scratch, but they're not sure what that is. Some students like to just come into the finished product and kind of we have a platform of which you can build, but many students really have an opportunity to build something from scratch, and that is a great opportunity to build your leadership skills, to be motivational to other students, and to really build that community if you have that passion. And that's really a good segue for the running club and Kennedy to finish up, because you've had a very interesting journey on this. And one of the main reasons we have a running club to the extent that we do is because of the role you've taken and how much effort you put into it. So, Kennedy, thank you, Marcus, for yours. So, Kennedy, please take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kennedy. I'm currently a senior, so I'm about to graduate. I'm from the United States and Spain. Um, Same as Marcus, I'm going to graduate with a degree in sociology, which is part of our culture and movements department. But my focus is really on organizational theory, and now I'm beginning to do more and more research in sociology of sports and sports sciences. As mentioned multiple times, I'm the president, captain, and also coach of DKU Running Club. Running club, and to my knowledge, is probably our most active club at the university. We're active within and outside the walls of our campus. So first, I'll explain a bit of what we do, then kind of how the club developed, in case any of you are interested in skill building, but also starting your own sports club. And then I can talk a little bit more about our sports club program in general. DKU Running Club is very active in the community. At DKU, we have practice every day. So no matter what your schedule is, you can always attend a practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Just to be a member, it's one time a week. It's super inclusive, no requirements for a level of running, and our runners develop at a very rapid speed. We have a runner who just started first time running in the fall, and now he's already like placing in the top 20 in the city for half marathons. So really it's a club where you get what you put into it. But inside the university, we've held competitions as one of the founding teams of the Kunshan Running Club League, which is a league of 14 different running clubs from the Kunshan Suzhou area. Beyond that, we've also held DKU Park Run, which is one of the main ways that athletics connects with Kunshan as a community. It's a bi-weekly 5K that we hold right outside the campus, and we have about 170 to 220 people attend every time. And these are families from Kunshan and local runners from running clubs and other schools like Xi'an Jiaotong Liverpool University or UWC Changshu, which is a high school. They've come and participated in these running clubs. Beyond that, we've sent our runners to compete across the nation. So this past year, we've competed in the Nanjing Marathon, we've in Shandong in the Yantai Half Marathon. We've competed in Kunshan, Suzhou, in Zhejiang province, all these provinces. So our runners have really had many opportunities to go travel and compete across China. So beyond the specifics of Running Club was one of those clubs that kind of died down. So when I was a freshman at DKU, COVID was just starting. So I was online as a student and I joined Running Club, but within a couple of months during my freshman year, it kind of died out because the quarantine restrictions and the lack of students on campus. So when I arrived last January in 2020, or I arrived on Christmas in 2022, but when I got on campus in January of 2023, I really set my mind to redeveloping the running club. And since then, we've grown from a group of 4 or 5 people that gathered 3 times a week to now a group of 70 to 80 active members that gather every day of the week to run. So it's been quite a journey. And through that journey, as Zarko has said, I've developed a lot of skills, leadership skills, organizational skills, event planning skills, which are contributing to my future career. I'm looking to be a program director for the Atlanta Track Club, potentially next year, where I would be the race director for Atlanta Marathon and half marathon, but also some youth competition programs in athletics. So sports clubs are an excellent way for you to develop career skills, professional skills, such as organizational skills, communication skills, event management that are applicable in any career. So I think that's one of the big pros of sports clubs at DKU, that you can get professional skills through something extracurricular in the school, right? No need to go do an internship right away. Within your freshman year, you can become a president or a secretary or a treasurer of a club and develop those skills. So beyond that, if you have any questions in the Q&A portion on any sports club, I'm also the president of the sports club executive board. So I have a pretty good idea of most of the clubs and what they do. So if you have any questions about any sport, DKU offers 20 different sports. So pretty much any sport that you're interested in, we have it here. Okay, thank you.
All right, Kennedy, thank you so much. I might have had a follow-up question, but I think you answered everything that I would have asked you. By the way, great job on the medals in the back. I see all of the marathons and half marathons you run. You have 2 medals on there, so very, very nice. All right, thank you all so much for sharing your stories. Are very inspirational. I really appreciate everything, your participation and how you represent DKU and how much you engage with us and the impact you have on our community. So I just hope the future students coming after you continue building on what you've started, and I'm really excited about that. So firstly, thank you all so much for being part of this. I would like to ask, does anyone have any questions? Let's answer some questions right now. So let's start with Sophia. Sophia, go ahead. You have your hand. Please unmute yourself. There you go.
My internet connection is kind of slow today.
It's okay.
Anyway, I've been watching the presentations and I always see there's pictures of like Kendo, but I don't think anyone actually went in depth into how Kendo is done at DKU. So is there like a club or is it more like extracurricular? I don't know if anyone here does partake in Kendo, but if so, could you please talk a bit more about the sport? Because I've always really wanted to try it.
Absolutely. That's a great question. I appreciate bringing it because it ties to a few things. One of the formats that we initially started was to open a really diverse range of PE classes. And a lot of classes we would like to, as I think Anna or Nika mentioned, to tie to some of the academic classes, because that's the best way for students to connect their academic studies through physical activity and vice versa. PE is also a great way to learn about the Chinese culture because there are so many martial arts related activities. So Tai Chi, Wuxi, Kendo. So we started offering Kendo because one of the students at DKU, class of 2022, was actually, his father was a master Kendo teacher. And he wanted to ask, are we interested in opening Kendo class? And I said, why not? It's something new, it's something exciting. And we really had interest from students. So we started with PE class, and PE class involved into the club. And now we have both. We have a PE class and we have a club. They are non-varsity because it's really hard to find some of the competitions where they can officially compete. However, club regularly meets, I think twice a week. And whenever we have these interactions with other universities, 2 of them have their own Kendo club. We actually take Kendo club with us and they just engage on their own, create interactions, and are still active. So club is still active. I think you can find information on our website about them as well, and they're happy to share more activities they're participating. But it started as a PE club, it evolved into a club right now, and we see, I think, about 10 students actively in there. And as you can see, Kendo can be quite a challenging sport because it requires specialized equipment and gear. And really, from our perspective, our goal is to help students develop different activities, different clubs, and we provide this support as much as possible, especially if it's something that we can adapt to DKU for long term. So kendo is not necessarily, other sports are cheaper, like football. You buy a football, you can play. Kendo takes a little bit more, but it's a long-term investment where we see a lot of value come from student participation through PE and a club. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. It actually does. So I definitely think I'm going to be part of the Kendo Club.
Yes, please do. Thank you, Kennedy, in there. Mariana, do martial arts club also have competitions? Yes, some of them do, some of them not as much. For example, recently we had, of course, Tai Chi is very popular in China, but there are different types of Tai Chi. Tai Chi sword, Tai Chi dance, there are different versions. And we have a team that actually competes at different level competitions. Other clubs, other martial arts, not so much. For example, Kendo has very limited competition. So depending on a club, we've had Taekwondo at some point in time, but unfortunately faded away. So the most active one is the Tai Chi and Tai Chi sword. They go a lot and travel on the provincial and even national level competitions. Okay, Kennedy.
And beyond that, so we recently had a MMA festival where our judo, tai chi, and kendo clubs performed at the university. I think also maybe some other schools also attended, but that's also a form of activity that they engage in. Beyond that, the judo club and the kendo club on a chronic basis will do a level test. So they'll train with the instructor at the university, and then maybe once a semester, DKU provides support for those students to advance to the next level officially to gain the certificate. So whatever level you come in with these martial arts to DKU, you'll have the opportunity and support to go on and get certified higher and higher levels as you're here at DKU.
Thank you so much. You should be you should gun for my job very soon instead of going back to Atlanta. You had that information. I forgot about it. So thank you so much. There's additional question in the Q&A from Ibrahim. Are there equestrian sports offered for people who want to try it out but have no significant background? There is an equestrian facility nearby, and we actually have equestrian outings for just, I think, on a monthly basis. We do this maybe twice a semester. We take students out for equestrian. So yes, there are resources here. We don't have a club yet because we only have an interest of 1 or 2 students. And unfortunately, there are no competitions. So it becomes almost like a personal training for individual students. However, like I mentioned, we do take students, we find the resources, we take students, and usually on these trips, we get anywhere from 10 to 20 students. So in addition to equestrian, we have things like sailing, fencing, and so on and so forth. So these are all individual sports that kind of have a little bit of a kick and fade away depending on number of students that we have interested in these sports. But whenever possible, we'll try to offer like a PE class or a camp. For example, equestrian would be a prime candidate to have a summer camp where you do something for a week, try to participate, and as a result, you get a PE credit. And if there's more students, something we can start as a club. So I hope that answers your question. All right. Hannah, hi, is the women basketball club varsity? And if so, do they perhaps play not as traditional basketball such as 3-on-3? Yes, women's basketball club is a varsity. We play mostly 5-on-5 when we go on tournaments. However, our club organizes every year the intramural competition. And one of these intramurals is 3-on-3. So we have that internally. Also, whenever there are competitions outside of DKU, such as whether in Suzhou or in Shanghai, there are 3-on-3, we try to send a team. So that is an option. But when it comes to official competition, we now interscholastic, they're mostly 5-on-5. All right. Any other questions?
There's a question about finances in the chat as well, and I was going to bring that up too. Can you go into the cost for students to participate in different sports?
Yes. This is where, as a unit, as a department, we are still learning and balancing the sports that cost a little bit more versus the sports that cost a little bit less. Whenever possible, we try to support clubs as much as possible. So for example, for equestrian, we would probably, and this is currently in discussion, how do we support some of these very niche activities? There's probably going to be some subsidy paid by the students, and that is to be determined on a case-by-case basis. For example, for the last 2 years, we have subsidized sailing club. However, in order to sail, students had to pay their own certification given by American Sailing Association. Because at that certification level, the students, we are confident the students can operate a boat by themselves and can participate in the races. Because the license is expensive for them, we've had enough number of students to warrant us purchase some membership under which we rent a boat and they sail every year, and they have at least 7 or 8, 9 competitions once per month. So there was enough substance there to justify subsidizing higher cost. For equestrian, again, depending on how many competitions, what other opportunities are there for students, and how can equestrian be help us promote DKU outside of DKU community and help bring this activity to DKU campus as well. So in these sports, when it's less students, there's going to be much bigger subsidy from students than it is from us. But we do try to listen as much as possible. And this is where, when you apply for a club, you kind of put in your plan and proposal or development plan for the year 2 and 3. Okay, Kennedy?
Yeah, and just to add on to that, so as Zarko just said, the university or the department as a whole, we're really looking to support athletes that are very committed, right? So within the sports clubs, we have a compliance system, and the more that your club and the group of students or the athlete is contributing to sports culture and DKU, whether it's going to men's or women's football games to support, or going and doing community service or hosting events for the local Kunshan community, the more they do to build the community, the more athletics is willing to get behind those athletes to support them to compete in their sports. Same thing with training, right? Anna mentioned that some running club members have opportunities to go off campus and compete, but that is the result of their hard work training 2-3 times a week and developing their skills and really preparing for those competitions, right? So as an athlete and as the president of the EB, I think that DKU does a good and a very fair job in supporting our athletes. The athletes that are working hard and contributing are rewarded. And I think that's a great thing about DKU, something that you might not be able to find at most traditional universities in the United States. For example, if you're in a running club in at Duke, you have to pay all your transportation, all your race registration fees, and so on. But DKU is willing to and able to cover that for you, so that you can go worry about the competition and do a good job, right? So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Thank you, Kennedy. Well said. I hope that answers for you, Ibrahim. We had another question by Bilgun. I'm looking forward to joining the basketball varsity team, but I'm quite hesitant about my skills being able to qualify for it. So would it be possible to join the team after I develop myself to a certain degree by participating in club activities? Absolutely, exactly like you said. Club is there to actually help and build a community of basketball. And this is where those players who are not ready for the varsity teams join and come together. And coach or one of the varsity team captains offers training session for once per week and just helps club members develop their skills. Tryouts for the varsity teams are held every single year, which means every year we build a team from scratch. And of course, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but DKU students often go to Duke for one semester. And this is where usually clubs have 3 or 4 students who go for the same year. And this is where we use club players to substitute into the varsity team. And this is the opportunity for club members to be selected for this instead of doing the recruiting from scratch. So you are absolutely right. If you're not ready, not selected for varsity, there shouldn't be discouragement, but just let you know what is the standard expected for you to reach for the next tryout period. And club is a perfect opportunity to do that, or even joining intramural games and all of the opportunities that you can do as part of the sports club.
Can you
Great
talk a
questions
little?
so far.
Can you
Go
talk
ahead,
a little
sorry.
bit about for people who don't maybe don't want to participate in a sport? Is there any kind of culture of like spectator sports? Are there some that are more popular for other students to watch, that kind of thing?
All right, who wants to take this one? Mika, go ahead.
I got it. Okay, of course. I mean, I think the biggest spectator sport on our campus so far has been football. Primarily because we do have a stadium alongside our football field. I think it's very frequent because the men's team also has been participating in the league. There's a big like I guess fan basis for it. We have a drum out there, we have chants. We've created kind of like this community, honestly, for that. So yeah, I think there's like a big thing for football at least. And I also see like other things like basketball, um, yeah, just a bunch of other sports. There's for sure opportunities for that.
I can't find it sliding, but yeah. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Nika. Anyone else would like to add? One thing that I would like to bring up, every time we go when we visit other universities, we actually take up 1 or 2 buses of DKU students who are willing to go and support our teams. So we bring our supporters with us. Students have to pay, for example, their sleepover. We try to help, but we supply the bus and simply bring students in. So there's many ways students can engage with our teams, be members of the club, participate, or just go and watch the games and support our teams wherever they go. So that's the next excellent question, Emily. Thank you. And even if you're not necessarily an athlete, for example, every club is required to organize intramurals on campus or any kind of activity to promote their kids. So martial arts does martial arts festival. We have a dance club who consists of sport dance, hip hop, traditional Chinese dance, Kunshan dance, and they organize their own dance festival. So whenever you are not a competitive club, like sports club, that doesn't mean you cannot contribute to the community and promote that activity. And even if you're a beginner, but you enjoy this activity, you can absolutely join the club and use your resources, use your talent in that way. Like Kennedy says, just because you're not good in one sport, that doesn't mean you cannot help or organize an activity, organize an event, do the marketing, do promotion, help facilitate this activity on campus. So there are many ways to engage in a club beyond just participating in that, or you can participate, but you don't have to be the best of the best. The goal is to really create the vibrant community on campus that everybody can come together, integrate, and really showcase what we are all about as an institution. All right. Does DKU host hiking camping trips as a leisure sport? And we don't have necessarily as a sport yet, but we have regularly hiking and camping activities. So at least once a month, we will take students on a trip. They're usually day hiking trips. We don't have a camping overnight yet. China is a little bit peculiar about overnight campings, and it can be only done in specific locations. But that is something we hope to develop. And we had few students inquire, can they start a club? And we would love to give this activity to students to build up. But so far, it's been mostly on a day-to-day trips. We go in the morning, we hike in Suzhou. We can even go as far as to UNNC because it's enough for the time. And we hope to build this in the future for a little bit more of an outdoors program. I mean, you've seen caving, and that's the overnight trip. So whenever possible now, our goal is to get all of these outdoor activities together into one outdoors program that hopefully can evolve with time and more participation from students. Kennedy.
Yeah, and beyond that, DKU is extremely well situated for people who enjoy hiking. We are very close to a range of hiking locations. Suzhou is very mountainous, and those mountains are very incorporated into the city of Suzhou. So you can even take the subway, but within a 1 hour radius of the campus, there's probably 5 or 6 different mountains that you can hike at. Running Club in the fall had a training camp, a 1-week training camp. And we went to Xishan West Mountain, which is an island within the large lake in Suzhou. And we hiked the mountain there 2 or 3 times during the training camp. But even 20 minutes away by bike from our campus, there's a mountain, about maybe a small mountain if you're just starting, maybe 150 meters tall for you to hike. So regardless of your level, there's many locations to hike around Kunshan and Suzhou. And within a train radius, there's even more. There's hundreds of mountains. So if you enjoy hiking, DKU is really a great place to come. Yeah.
Kennedy, did you really categorize Tingling Park as a mountain?
I think it
We
works.
have
I
to
think
talk about this.
for a
I know our
hike,
name,
it's
Kunshan. Shan
okay.
is a mountain, but I would really question that. I see Nika also smiling at that. So,
But for
but
a
it's
hike,
okay. I
it's
know what you're
okay,
talking about.
right?
It is a nice place to hike for sure. All right. I think we are very at the end of time. We are happy to stay and answer a few more questions. Emily, I'll leave this up to you.
Sure. If there's any last minute questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. But yeah, this was awesome. I definitely learned a lot about athletics as well. So I appreciate you guys all taking the time to share your perspectives. And I'm sure some students who tune into the recording of this later may have some questions and reach out as well. I do want to give everyone a heads up that we have another session tomorrow with our student resources, and it's really focused on arriving in China and thriving from that point in China. So it'll go over a lot of the logistical questions that I know people have about visas and things like that. So that's at the same time. And of course, it'll be recorded and posted within 24 hours as well. Zarko, if you want to put up the slide again with the email address.
I was just about to do the typing and in the chat.
Oh yeah, or that works too.
I can do right here real quick.
And it looks like we do have one last minute question in the chat if you want to take that.
Last minute question. Does sport in China interact globally? Ibrahim, I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but I'll give you an example and you can let us know that's what you mean. For example, we have student athletes who are Olympic level athletes. And when we have Universiad, whether it's Asian competition or whether it's European competition, we are looking whether or not our students can compete under Kunshan University. And if this is feasible, we would be happy to support it. For example, providing the subsidy for you to travel, going and compete. We cannot, of course, right now, I don't think we can send a lot of teams or many teams are ready to compete at that level. But if there's certainly opportunity, like Kennedy said, we have some really great runners who might be able to compete at a certain level. And we had during COVID, we had one student, she was doing mixed martial arts and she was competing in the US on behalf of DKU and she won some great medals. We wrote an article about her. So in this regard, whenever possible, we try to support our students, yes. All right.
Great questions, everyone.
What's the
Yeah,
last question we caught it?
Yep, I think that sounds good. Thank you so much again for both the student panelists and you, but also to all the student participants for asking some great questions. And like I said, I learned a lot, and I'm excited to see the Phase 2 Athletic Center soon. So thanks again for your time, and please reach out to athletics with any more questions, or if you have any questions about your decision about DKU in general, feel free to reach out to your global recruitment officer or the UG admitted email address, and all of that can be found in your portal. So thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a good night and a good day wherever you are.
Thank you all. Thank you for visiting and looking forward to having you at DKU. Thank you, guys.